Where does one start in order to increase muscle mass? Because that is shown from an evidence-based perspective to get good health outcomes.
We're going to talk about how to choose your exercises such that you get the good exercises. What kind of movements to do? Presses, pulls, upright rows, shoulder presses, squats, deadlifts, things like that.
If I walked into a gym tomorrow and had to start my fitness journey all over again, but this time I could only choose 5 exercises to build my entire physique, which ones would I pick? I would choose the movements that give me the biggest return for every minute that I spend training. Now, just to be clear, I am not saying that the exercises that you will see in this video are the only exercises worth doing. Far from it. There are plenty of great exercises that can help you build muscle, improve weak points, or simply make your workouts more enjoyable. But if I had to build the best physique I possibly could using the smallest number of exercises, these are the 5 that I would never want to train without. Let's start with the first one. The squat is one of the most complete lower body exercises you can perform. When you squat, your quadriceps are working to extend your knees, your glutes are producing force to extend your hips, and your core is working hard to keep your body stable under load. In simple terms, the squat trains the muscles that allow you to produce force from the ground up. One reason the squat is so effective is because it allows you progressively overload your muscles over time. And progressive overload is one of the key principles behind building muscle. Your body adapts to the demands you place on it. If you gradually increase the challenge by adding weight, performing more repetitions, or improving your technique, you create a reason for your muscles to grow. So, if I had to pick one lower body movement to build strength and muscle from scratch, the squat would be one of the first exercises that I would keep. If I had to choose one movement to develop the muscles responsible for upper body pushing strength, the bench press would be one of my first choices. The reason is simple. The bench press allows you to train 3 important muscle groups at the same time: your chest, your front shoulders, and your triceps. Think of it as a team effort. Your chest is responsible for producing a large part of the force. Your shoulders help move the weight through the pressing motion, and your triceps finish the movement by extending your elbows. Together, these muscles create one of the strongest pushing patterns the human body can perform. One of the biggest advantages of the bench press is its simplicity. You can clearly measure your progress, you can improve your technique, and you can continue challenging yourself year after year. That combination of simplicity, stability, and progression is what makes it such an important foundation exercise. The bench press covers one of the most important movements for the upper body, pushing. But a complete physique also needs something else, a strength from the ground up, and that's exactly where the deadlift comes in. The deadlift is one of the simplest movements to understand. You start with weight on the ground and you lift it by producing force through your entire body. Unlike many exercises where one muscle group does most of the work, the deadlift requires coordination between multiple areas. Your glutes and hamstrings help extend your hips, your back muscles keep your spine stable, your core works to transfer force, and your rib has to hold everything together. It's one of the clearest examples of a full body strength movement. Even deadlift trains something that few exercises can replicate: the ability to produce force through your entire posterior chain. So now we have the lower body, horizontal pushing, and the posterior chain covered. But there is still one major area missing: the muscles responsible for pressing overhead and building complete shoulder strength. And that's where our next exercise comes in. There is another movement pattern that many people overlook: the ability to press weight overhead. And if I could only keep a few exercises to build a complete physique, the overhead press would be one of them. The overhead press is one of the simplest tests of upper body strength. You start with weight around shoulder level and you press it directly above your head. Simple movement, but incredibly demanding. Unlike the bench press, where you are supported by a bench, the overhead press requires your entire body to work together. Your shoulders produce the main pressing force, your triceps help extend your elbows, your upper back helps stabilize the movement, and your core has to create a strong foundation so your body can transfer force efficiently. This is what makes the overhead press different. It doesn't just train a muscle, it trains a movement. It develops strength in a pattern that many modern training programs completely ignore. Humans are designed to move in many different directions. We squat, we pull, we push, and we press overhead. We've covered pushing, we've covered squatting, we've covered lifting heavy things from the ground, but a complete physique also needs the opposite movement pattern, pulling. And if I had to choose one exercise to represent that movement, it would be the pull-up. Now, before you skip this exercise because you can't do a pull-up yet, let me clarify something. The goal isn't that everyone watching this video needs to walk into a gym and immediately perform 10 perfect repetitions. For many people, a full body weight pull-up is a difficult exercise, and that's completely normal. The pull-up is not valuable because it looks impressive. It's valuable because it represents one of the most important movements for building your upper body, pulling your own body through space. During a pull-up, your lat muscles do most of the work to bring your body upward. Your biceps help with elbow flexion, your upper back muscles stabilize your shoulders, and your core keeps your body controlled through the movements. This makes it one of the most complete vertical pulling exercises you can perform. But remember, the exercise itself is not the only important factor. The movement pattern is what matters. If you can't do a pull-up yet, assisted pull-ups, bunch variations, or even lat pull-downs can help you build the strength needed to eventually perform one. Now that we've covered the 5 exercises that I would choose to build my physique around, there's one important question left. What do all these movements have in common? Why these exercises and not hundreds of other options? The answer comes down to one simple concept: compound movements. A compound movement is an exercise that involves multiple joints and several muscle groups working together at the same time. For example, a bench press is not only a chest exercise. Your chest, shoulders and triceps work together to complete the movement. And a pull-up doesn't just train your back. Your lats, arms, upper back and core all play a role. This is one of the main reasons these exercises are so valuable. They allow you to train a large amount of muscle using a relatively small number of movements. A review published in Sports Medicine compared single joint and multi-joint exercises and concluded that both can be useful, but multi-joint movements provide an efficient way to train multiple muscles at once because they involve more muscle mass and allow heavier loading. Moreover, research suggests that you don't necessarily need to add isolation exercise to a well-designed multi-joints program to make significant gains, especially when you are just starting out. And this isn't only something we see in beginners. In a study involving resistant trained men, researchers found that 8 weeks of multi-joint training produced similar improvements in muscle size and strength to a program that combines multi-joint and isolation exercises. The main conclusion of this research is that multi-joint exercise can be an extremely efficient foundation for building muscle, and in some studies, adding isolation exercise to a multi-joints program hasn't produced additional overall gains. But this doesn't mean that exercises targeting fewer muscle groups are useless or unimportant. Far from it. A curl, a lateral raise, or a leg extension can still be excellent tools. Isolation exercises can be extremely useful for bringing up specific muscles, addressing weak points, or simply adding more training volume where you need it. The point is not that compound movements are the only exercise worth doing, it's that they give you an incredibly efficient foundation to build on. So, if I had to start my fitness journey again and build my physique from the ground up, these are the 5 movements that I would choose. Not because they are the only exercises that work, but because they provide a simple, efficient foundation. They cover the major movement patterns, train almost every major muscle group, and give you plenty of room to progress for years. Because building muscle isn't about finding a secret exercise, it's about choosing effective tools, using them consistently, and getting better over time. If you enjoyed this evidence-based approach to fitness, make sure to subscribe for more science-backed content. And remember, small changes constantly applied, that's how real results happen. See you soon.